Hey everybody, this is Evolve Wrestling Superstar, All Ego Ethan Page, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast.
Wrestling Podcast! Let's get ready to rumble!
The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
Oh my God!
We are taking over.
Drink it in, man.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
Awesome!
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only two in my book.
AWB, another wrestling podcast. Bada boom, realest guys in the room. How you doing?
All right. Welcome to WrestleMania weekend. This is episode 153. I'm Credo.
I'm Minority Mike.
And I, of course, am Angry Cooter. Hey guys, guess what?
What?
Paige got married today. I can't wait to see those wedding photos.
Wait, what? She got married?
Yeah. Oh yeah, her and Del Rio tied the knot today. Cannot wait to see those wedding photos.
Is this an insurance scam?
We're here. It's WrestleMania weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on. But joining us today, straight out of Evolve and into your ears, it's Ethan Page joining us. Guys, what are your thoughts on Ethan Page stopping by right before WrestleMania weekend?
It's not confidence, ladies and gentlemen. It is all ego. Ethan Page, I'm very excited to hear what he has to say today on the show. When I started watching Evolve, Ethan Page was one of the guys who stood out to me the most. I've been a fan since day one. I started watching the Evolve promotion. The guy is a blue chipper. He's a future star. I cannot wait to see this guy's career progress.
Nice. Well, it's WrestleMania weekend. Before we get into it, we're going to talk about the NXT card. We're going to talk about the WrestleMania card. Before we even talk to each other, what was WrestleMania like for you guys? Do you have any memories of just growing up? Anything that comes to mind of just, watching WrestleMania? Like, what's the one biggest thing for you guys?
Oh Christ! You know what was funny? I remember the first one I saw was WrestleMania 7. A buddy of mine broke his femur. That happens to be the largest bone in your body. So he's literally up in the hospital for 6 weeks with a pin through his leg, and his parents taped WrestleMania for him. We must have watched that tape at least 30 or 40 times. It's Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter.
Nice.
Good. I remember one of probably the worst WrestleManias of all time, but it's one of my favorite memories was WrestleMania 2000, and I don't know if you guys remember. In that time era, you ordered it on pay-per-view, but they had WrestleMania all day, where they started, I believe they started really early in the morning, and they aired every single WrestleMania up until the show time of WrestleMania 2000. And I remember going out and buying all sorts of stuff, coming home, and I sat in front of the TV and watched every single WrestleMania. My mom was pretty pissed off because and she had every right to be, because I told her that the pay-per-view was only $19.99, but joke's on her, because if you ordered the entire package, it was like $125. Yeah, I got the worst whooping of my life when she got the cable bill.
Yeah. Man, I go back to classic days, like, Hogan versus Warrior. Watching that match was, as a little kid watching it was so surreal. Little Hebner in the ring, man. Hogan and Warrior were so, they made Hebner look like a little jockey. It was unbelievable, just the way they looked in the ring, larger than life. It was something special each year. I even remember watching WrestleMania 9 when it was, still daylight out. I don't know if they started it earlier or what back then. I'll have to do a fact check on it.
Well, no, that was Caesar's Palace, so they were a couple hours ahead of us. Yeah.
So I wonder what time, because back then too, it didn't matter what time. Today's standards, it always starts at 8 o'clock, but it definitely started earlier in the afternoon. I want to say 4 or 5 or something like that. But I definitely remember it was daylight out watching it. But man, this is the weekend of weekend, guys. Every wrestling fan is heading down to Orlando. Whether you're going to WrestleMania, NXT, there's a lot of other things happening out there. Mike, I know you could probably educate some of the fans going down there, or anybody that's around there this weekend. It's more than WrestleMania, more than WWE. It's just a wrestling paradise right now down in Florida.
Oh, if you're a wrestling fan and you're down in Orlando, you are going to be in wrestling heaven. I mean, if you want to just go for the WWE experience, that's fine. But if you want to experience other things, there's so much stuff going on. I mean, we're going to start with Thursday. We have Evolve 80 happening Thursday night. I mean, some of the key matches, the main event, your Evolve heavyweight champion, Zack Sabre Jr. versus ACH, which that's a match that probably will steal the weekend, in my opinion. You got Drew Galloway versus Matt Riddle, and you have Ethan Page and the Gatekeepers versus Austin Theory. So, and right after that, if you like the party and you like the mix, you're partying with professional wrestling, then WaleMania is probably a place where you want to go. That's going to happen at Tier Nightclub in Orlando. WaleMania is simply kind of like a who's who of wrestling that show up there, and pretty much it's bottle service. They have the wrestlers on stage, a big Q&A, then they have a DJ. Wale's brought to you by rapper Wale, who's a huge wrestling fan. Some of the key guys that are showing up at WaleMania is going to be Ricochet, Will Ospreay. Jim Ross is honoring his appearance to be there. Eric Bischoff will be in at WaleMania.
Oh, wow.
As well as Noel Foley. And a lot of WWE talent show up at WaleMania. They just can't advertise it. Last year, Big E just happened to be just wandering in, and they put him on stage. And a couple other guys showed up as well. So that's, if you're right after that Evolve show, if you want to get a drink, head over to Tiered Nightclub for WaleMania 3. Then we're going to move to Friday. Now, Friday is a really busy day. Obviously, you have the Access going on all day, but then you have Evolve 81 happening. You also have Ring of Honor's Super Card of Honor, which is actually a very good card. One of the matches that stand out for the Ring of Honor title, you got Christopher Daniels versus the guy who I think is going to be the man to win that title, Dalton Castle. Then you have that's going to, and then the card. What's up?
Did you ever think that you'd be seeing Christopher Daniels headline a card on WrestleMania weekend? I think he deserves it, man. I'm happy for that son of a bitch.
Definitely does. Yeah. You also have the Broken Hardys versus the Young Bucks on that card, and there's a lot of other great matches on there. And then, of course, you got the Hall of Fame, which is standard. Then you're going to fast forward to Saturday. Now, Saturday is going to be a crazy day. I mean, things start early. I mean, you have What Culture Pro Wrestling's having an event, I believe, on Saturday there. Obviously, the NXT is going to be at night. You also have the WWN Super Show, which is pretty much Evolve and Progressive doing a super card together. I mean, one of the matches that stand out is Ethan Page versus Jimmy Havoc, which is going to be a great match right there. And then you have Sunday, and Sunday is a big day because obviously it's WrestleMania Day, but what not many people know is going on Sunday. Sunday morning in Orlando at 10 a.m., it's the Broken Tailgate Party, ladies and gentlemen. The Broken Hardys invite you all to their Broken Tailgate, where they're going to have a wrestling ring there with some matches going on. They're going to have food. I believe EC3 is a guest bartender. They're going to have a couple other guys stopping by. I mean, this is a week for wrestling fans. I wish I was in Orlando to experience all this stuff, but I'm stuck here in New York. So definitely go and check out everything. If you're in Orlando, like I said, escape out of the WWE realm and you go check out Evolve, go check out Ring of Honor, go check out What Culture Pro Wrestling. It's the experience, man. It really is.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's more than WrestleMania and WWE this weekend. So it's good to know and realize that there's more out there, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what I find funny is all these great indie promotions with WWE being in Florida, and also right in their backyard, who's missing in action?
Who's that?
There's no Impact Wrestling anywhere in Florida, in Orlando, in their hometown on WrestleMania weekend.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder how embarrassing it would be. Just like 5 people showed up.
That's right. EC3 doesn't have a match on WrestleMania weekend, but he's bartending.
He will be bartending at the Broken Tailgate Party.
But yeah, well, before we get out of that little realm of what's happening this weekend, I think it's a perfect time to bring in somebody who's going to be at that whole weekend before WrestleMania. Ethan Page, he's stopping by right now in the studio. Let's learn a little bit more about Evolve and what he has in store for this weekend. All right, joining us today is a Canadian pro wrestler by the name of Ethan Page. Ethan, man, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Doing great. Now, we're coming up on a big weekend for Evolve. Can you tell the fans what's happening that weekend and all the lineup of the shows happening from March 30th to April 1st?
Oh, geez.
We got Evolve 80, right?
Does this podcast have a time limit?
No.
There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, especially under the WWN banner. If you want to see absolutely everything, you can go to morethanmania.com. But me personally, we're wrestling on Evolve 80, Evolve 81, and the WWN Super Show, which is Evolve versus Progress, as well as the Joey Janela Spring Break.
Wow. So a big weekend for you guys. It's WrestleMania weekend where pretty much, fans from all over the world are coming out, not just for WWE, but other companies like Evolve and whatnot. Do you have experience working like that WrestleMania a week or weekend, and maybe what it's like as a superstar just to see, more fans than you would ever see in one area, I guess?
Yeah, you know what? It's awesome. This is my third one, and it's, I don't know, the special feeling doesn't really go away. It's the weekend everybody looks forward to every year. And for me, this one's no different.
We talk a lot about other wrestling companies, but Evolve seems to be one of those diamonds in the rough, if you will. Can you tell us about maybe the growth of Evolve as a company and just basically your time there and how you see it from the inside out?
Yeah, when I first started, it was actually at a WrestleMania weekend in San Diego, I believe. It was San something. And I believe California area. And that was huge. They had 500, 600, 700, 800 people over the span of 3 shows. And the following Evolve shows had about 80 people. So every time it's around super fans, it was something special. And then when it went to these other small cities, I don't want to say small because Florida's a hotbed for wrestling now, but we went from there, then went to Florida, and there was 70 people, and it was like, we just had 800, and now all of a sudden it's down to 10% of that. Mm-hmm. So we had to build the company up, and that's everyone that was on the roster didn't say, oh, there's less people, it's time to have a night off. They said, our product is the exact same. Whether there's 800 or 80 people, we're going to go out there and have the best show. And I think that the pride in the wrestler, everybody wanting to work hard for Gabe and Sal and Evolve, that grew Evolve on its own. Then you had WWE kind of stick their hand out and give Evolve a little bit of a boost, sending in guys like Sami Zayn, American Alpha. You had William Regal coming down for appearances as well as seminars. And that in itself gave Evolve a rub and helped us grow exponentially. And now we're hitting those crowds. We were WrestleMania weekend, but once a month, which is great. So when we come to WrestleMania weekend now, I think it's going to be even bigger than it was before.
Now, speaking of that relationship with WWE, how do the guys on the inside and even yourself look at that as, kind of like a little bit of a partnership with them? How does that make you guys feel in the end?
It was great because we as a team, we had a competitive edge against each other, but now it was a personal competition where we knew WWE was watching, so anybody on the roster could have an opportunity to move on to bigger and better things. So it was kind of, it was like a kick in the ass where now it's time to step it up even more.
Mm-hmm. Your growth to being a top guy for that promotion, maybe from the first day you started to where you are now, just your evolution, if you will, there. How does that make you feel just going, from where you started to where you are now, and maybe the future, what you see in the next few years of yourself with maybe Evolve?
The whole experience starting off, I think I was directed or guided in a way that from day one, eventually I would be where I am today. How well it went was, I guess, up to me for my performances. But on my first weekend, WrestleMania weekend, I was a good guy. And by the end of the weekend, I turned on the guy that brought me into the company, Johnny Gargano, who was the figurehead of the company, number one guy, face. They called him the WWN icon. So from the get-go, I was given the ball, and what I did with it from that point was totally in my hands, and it's been a wild roller coaster where in a company known for its professional wrestling, its technical wrestling, pure wrestling, you have this guy who most people think doesn't belong but found his niche and a way to, I guess, make it work. And since day one, I've been trying to prove that, which is a pride thing for me. But also elevating the company and giving it a different dynamic than other guys have the ability to. And I think that Ethan Page really helped Evolve grow, and Evolve really helped me grow as well.
Sure. And you brought up Johnny Gargano. What are your thoughts about working with him and where he is now today?
It was amazing, and mostly because we've wrestled each other before we went into Evolve, so we kind of had really good chemistry, and I think that was kind of it helped give that deciding factor of trust, knowing that we had literally 2 years of wrestling to really build on until his final days in Evolve, where I took him out for the second time. And him being a part of NXT, but also wrestling for Evolve while in a feud with me really helped elevate my stock as a performer, being the guy that was trusted to work with a guy who obviously had bigger and better things on the horizon. So it was really good experience. He's one of the best in the world.
Definitely. Now Evolve isn't your full-time home, but you also work in a promotion, Alpha One Wrestling. What can you tell the fans about that?
It's the best wrestling in Canada, and it sucks because I wish more people knew about it, and I do everything in my power to help people know about it, and it's been working. The more popularity I get, the more popularity Alpha One gets, and it's a goal of mine to really watch it grow and make it into something that is self-sustainable, so that when I do go off and do better things and I'm not living in Canada anymore, I wanted to kind of be able to, work for itself and give an opportunity for Canadian talent to have that exposure to the American market while people are watching DVDs or VOD or whatever it is. And the crowd in itself is just something you have to experience live. It's very special.
Sure. And, being able to work with a promotion like that, do you ever recollect any advice given to you, maybe from any veteran of the business, just about, either pro wrestling, being a wrestler, or just staying, loyal to that company, just helping them, get to where they need to be?
Yeah, you know what? They had Tommy Dreamer come in a couple times, and I had a chat with him, and he kind of, as everybody notices, I love being the bad guy, and I love playing that character. It's a natural fit for me. I don't know, maybe I'm a terrible person in real life. But in Alpha One, it's my hometown of Hamilton, Ontario. I have a big hand in helping the company progress and a lot of behind-the-scenes things. So the more public that became, the harder it was for me to be a bad guy. So Dreamer saw that and kind of told me, like, hey, I am to ECW what you are to Alpha One, or vice versa. Sorry, he said, I am to Alpha One what he was to ECW, in a sense that people knew how much hard work and heart he put into the company to make it better and help it grow. So fans seeing that I'm doing the same thing, it's very hard for them to dislike me. So I should embrace, I guess, the support and the fact that I do put a lot of work in for them and be a good guy. So I did, and I haven't looked back since. So it's been great advice that's helped the company as well have a character that is there every single month that people really love.
Sure. And this question is more basically for you and basically all the other wrestlers you work with. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. Basically with the WWE, the past year or two, it just seems like it's been flipped upside down to where at one point you had to look this way to get in. You had to look a certain way to start out to get with them. And now, I mean, it's not really about looks anymore. I mean, it's kind of like anybody's up for grabs out there to this day, to where it almost seemed like it was almost impossible unless you went through their farm system to get in, and then through years of doing that, then you work your way up and yada yada yada. But guys, just for one name out there, James Ellsworth, a guy you never thought they would picked him for anything. He got picked, they use him. But for you guys out there, wrestlers out there, seeing that the WWE is kind of definitely changed from what they used to be, to where now, hey man, anybody's up for grabs. Does that kind of give you not hope, but just a better outlook to say, hey, I could still, anybody could kind of make it to WWE if they wanted to. It's just all about being that character, having that charisma, and anybody's fair game, I guess. I don't know. Is there any kind of thoughts about that with maybe you or any other wrestlers ever talk about? Maybe, at one point, like I said, it could have been really difficult, but now it just seems like, hey, the door's wide open.
Yeah, but I think that there was instances like that before, like Colin Delaney, the guy who's under WWE contract, and I guess he had at the time the same James Ellsworthy characteristics about him. But I see what you're saying, where it's more open now, body types, characters, size, height, whatever. There's no real bias to the muscle men anymore, which is true in a sense. But I think that no matter what, and no matter what the fad is, and I don't want to say fad in a negative way, but right now it's on a path of independent guys are very popular, which is, great for me. But at the end of the day, there's always gonna be the Roman Reigns, handsome, tall, jacked, should be a movie star, professional wrestler, who will always outshine the independent guys unless they look the same way. And I don't know, maybe I'm an ass for saying that, but I personally am drawn to those people more as well, because they do look like superheroes. They look larger than life. They look like somebody you wouldn't bump into on the street. So in my professional wrestling, that's who I would cater to as well.
Definitely. Now, we kind of have something in common. You went to school for TV broadcasting. I went to school in Philadelphia for video production. Is this kind of what you do on the side from wrestling, or are you still into TV, just all that kind of stuff behind the scenes?
Yeah, and like for me, I use it a lot in my career where, like we'll go back to Alpha One. I produce the DVDs, I produce the DVD art, I produce the graphics, the website, all that stuff, and it's all from my degree, as well as I have my own YouTube channel, my own YouTube show. Wrestlers hire me on to do their 8x10s, their t-shirt designs, their music videos, hype videos. It's a good way to get some extra coin, posters, all that kind of stuff. So it's come in handy, especially earlier on in my career where I wasn't making much money as a professional wrestler. So, yeah.
Definitely. Now, maybe for anybody sitting at home who's going WrestleMania weekend and say, hey, I have a few extra bucks to spend, can you kind of maybe not cut a promo, but maybe tell them why they should, if they've never seen Evolve, why they should be there that weekend?
Oh, it's the best wrestlers in the world. And I don't mean that because I work for them. I mean that because the entire company was just raided by WWE. They took 60% of the roster and they brought them to 205 Live, to NXT, to Monday Night Raw. It's kind of like the funnel for the best, where they'll be spinning in the funnel and eventually will drop through into WWE, and it's kind of just a waiting game. And maybe it's Gabe's eye for talent. Maybe it's just the magnetism of the company Evolve or the WWN banner. But all of the shows, top to bottom, have the best in the world. And if a ticket is, honestly, I don't even know how much it is, $20, $30, $40. If you're skeptical, get a general admission, stand at the back, and watch the other 1,000 people in the room absolutely blow the roof off the place while whoever's in the ring is blowing their minds.
for everybody listening out there, you mentioned getting the word out about Alpha One, but also where can the fans hearing you now find you on social media or anything else that you're involved with?
Me personally, you can go to Twitter for Official Ego. That's my handle. And obviously, I'll link everything that I do. I'm very active on social media as well. So if you tweet at me, 99% of the chance I'll get back to you.
That's great. Well, Ethan, we thank you so much. We wish you nothing but the best in your career, and hopefully we'll talk to you down the line.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Who will survive?
All right. Well, the first half of this weekend for any WWE fan out there is NXT TakeOver Orlando. Technically, it's a homecoming for them since they're pretty much based in Orlando, but it's happening, guys. Last year and probably the year before that, people were comparing NXT to WrestleMania. Some of the cards were almost better. Some of the matches were better, fans were saying, than some of the matches that we were getting at WrestleMania. So maybe let's find out if we feel the same way this year, but let's start from the bottom and work our way to the top, and let's try to give our 2 cents about some of these matches happening this weekend, shall we?
Yeah, we got the first match from the bottom. It was just announced on this week's NXT television, which is Sanity versus Roddy Strong, No Way Jose, Ty Dillinger, and Ruby Riott. This has been a feud that's been going on for quite some time. I mean, when I was at the NXT tapings, they already had this match minus the women. It was a 6-man match, which Sanity won, and it just kind of escalated further and further. What do you guys think of this match? I mean, me personally, I'm more interested in guys like Ty Dillinger. I mean, I love Sanity. Their entrance is amazing, but I don't know what it is about this match. It doesn't really do anything for me.
They did a good job last week when they put this whole thing together. When Ruby Riott, that's the one problem I have with this. They just threw some random hoe in there that we have no exposure to, and for what? I mean, there's no story behind her. She just shows up out of nowhere to battle my lady, Nikki Cross. Nobody treats my lady that way.
Well, she was featured. I guess there's a new class of superstars that just signed, and they're at the Performance Center, and she was one of the women in the feature video. So she's getting pushed really quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. Sanity's been doing pretty good lately. I mean, they're kind of like a Shield meets the Wyatts and had a baby, and they were all stepchildren and then kind of got slapped around. But I'm digging what they're doing. It's a little bit different down, at least for NXT with that little group, especially Cooter's very own Nikki Cross. So we can't forget her. But I don't know. All these guys too, and especially Roddy Strong. I mean, I figured he'd have more of a solo match out of this. No Way Jose. They're still. I don't know, trying to make him relevant with whatever. Poor Ty Dillinger, no breakout match for this. No singles match, no championship match for Ty Dillinger after that whole build-up after the Rumble and all that. And then Ruby Riott. 2 weeks she shows up, and now she's at a WrestleMania weekend card, so good for her. But I don't know. I'm hoping for Sanity to pull out strong on this and, make more of a name for themselves down there. Well, moving right along, we have Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas. I can never say that right. You know what it is. ACA, we'll just call him. Guys, Cooter, I know you probably feel bad about somebody in this match. What are your thoughts about this happening at NXT TakeOver?
I feel bad for Almas. He had a great match last week against another no-name guy, this Oni Lorcan. I mean, fantastic match. I cannot say enough good things about it. Every time this poor bastard puts on a good show and gets some good momentum going, a newcomer comes in who we haven't seen in NXT yet, and he's basically guaranteed to do the job. I think he was Bobby Roode's first match in NXT when he debuted on one of the TakeOver specials. I hate that. The poor guy is a very talented superstar, and he's been showing it a lot more as of late. He's getting better on the mic. He's got a little bit of direction more to his character. Turning him heel was a good move for him. And now we're putting him up against somebody on a WrestleMania weekend card who we have no idea who the hell he is. It's like, okay, Aleister Black. We've seen a couple of dark promos and what? Some kickboxing on a bag and shit. Like, come on now. It's just WrestleMania. Can we put him up against somebody who we know can have a great match?
Is Cien wearing that hat and suspenders still? Is he still doing that thing?
No.
He's done.
He still wears the hat.
Still wears the hat.
Still wears the hat.
Anyway.
Well, you don't know who Aleister Black is, but I know who Tommy End is. He came from the ICW promotion, and the guy is legit.
Smart Mark.
Yep, that's me. I'm the smart Mark. Let me tell you something. This is, out of this entire card, this is the match that I'm picking as the sleeper to be the best match of the card. These guys wrestled each other at the Albany House show I was at a couple weeks ago, and they had a good match. You could tell they were very limited in what they were doing. They weren't going too crazy. They were feeling each other out. But Aleister Black, I'm so used to calling him Tommy End, but Aleister Black is very good in the ring. He's the real deal. He doesn't look, I mean, he's got tattoos on his thighs all over the place. He looks like one of those punk rockers, but the guy can go in the ring, and we all know that Siama Amos, just like you, Credo, I can't even say his name. It's Mr. 1000, I'm going to call him. You know, he can go in the ring. He's very talented. This is a match that I think is going to steal the night.
So what's happening here to where Aleister Black...
You're wrong. Cien is 100.
Oh, that's right. Cien is 100.
Neil is 1,000, my friend.
Mr.
I'm a fucking Polak, and I just told a Puerto Rican how to speak Spanish.
Well, got me on that one.
If it's taken us this much to figure out his name, I think he needs a new name. And speaking of names, though, Aleister Black, I thought we got over changing names or whatever. I wonder what it takes to keep your name coming in and, just to get a whole new name. I figured maybe if he had some credibility out on the outside, they would have... I don't know. Anyway, I thought they would have changed things, but yeah, I think I will agree with you though, Mike. I think this could be that sleeper that does stand out from the rest. Hoping for the best though out of this. Moving right along though, there's going to be a big triple threat for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The Authors of Pain, the current champions, versus Dash and Dawson versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Guys, three of their biggest tag teams they have right now that aren't really in big groups going up against each other. You know, the Authors of Pain came in, made a name for themselves, been kicking ass, taking names, really giving them like the big push, if you will, as this monster tag team. I do not personally see them losing the championships this weekend. I think, if anything, it's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's send-off. I don't think they even need them down there anymore. If they do move them up, we'll see what happens. But even Dash and Dawson, I don't know. Out of all these guys, I think, Authors of Pain are going to come out victorious and kind of kick these other tag teams up to the main roster maybe.
I want to tell you guys, when this match happens Saturday night, watch it very closely. Put your cell phones down. Pay close attention. The reason why I'm telling you this right now, because this is the last great tag team match you will see in NXT. And the reason why I say this is because, like you said, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, there's chances that they could get moved up. We all know that the Revival are going up. Who does the Authors of Pain have? Heavy Machinery?
I don't know. You make fun of them. They had a pretty decent match I just watched this week. I mean... They're a work in progress.
They're a work in progress.
We always say shit about whether it's the tag division or it's the women's division. We get all like, oh boy, there's not going to be any competition when so-and-so leaves. They do a good job of restacking the shelves, man. So let's
let me add this. Can you name a team other than Heavy Machinery?
Right? The M61.
Yeah, but
they're not happening right now.
On the injured
man. Whatever.
He's out for like a year.
Blake and Murphy.
Oh my God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that right there shows us that NXT has not produced tag teams other than Heavy Machinery. Anyway, this match is going to be a great match, I think. I mean, Authors of Pain they've improved in the ring. We all know that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa can go. And, you got the tag team of the year, the Revival. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a good match. Like I said, it's the last tag team match you're going to see that's actually going to be good.
Yeah, and
let me ask you this: in terms of Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, though, do we see them as a team on SmackDown or do we see them maybe going over to 205 Live?
Probably 205, maybe, I would say.
I hope not.
They'll get
they
lost,
just
I think,
keep as a
maybe.
team. Yeah. But you know what? I mean, even if they don't go up right away, I mean, we've seen Authors of Pain versus Johnny Gargano too much already. I think this is the last time you see it happening. It's just like it's so much people are getting moved up, and we'll get into everybody else a little later. But it's like that tag division. It's starting to look like the SmackDown tag division, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think Dash and Dawson are definitely move up material. I think if they are worrying about that tag team being depleted or the tag teams down there being depleted, maybe they don't jump the gun on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso to just hold them around longer to where, like you said, if they do move up, do they get lost in that shuffle unless they start eliminating people and future endeavoring some of these people that they're holding on to, like Goldust or some shit like that, to where they don't really need them anymore? Shuffle the cards up a little bit and make room for some of the new faces. But I don't know. I hope for these guys, though, get up there, do something different. But yeah, I think Vince is probably going to say 205 Live for you. He has nothing. He probably has no idea what he would want to do with any of these guys. So. But hey, we'll talk about the SmackDown tag teams coming up in a little bit. So I think Dash and Dawson would do really well over in SmackDown, and maybe Gargano and Ciampa do the same thing on SmackDown, just to actually have legit tag teams for American Alpha. But at the end of the day, guys, pick the winner. Who's winning? Authors of Pain.
Yeah, I think I'm with that. Authors of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you could shake up the tag division is if, they did switch the titles and put it on Gargano and Ciampa, but I don't see that happening. I see Authors of Pain retaining.
Yeah, all right. Well, moving right along, the NXT Women's Championship is on the line. Asuka, who's been champion for fucking ever, versus Ember Moon. Guys, is it finally time we get the championship, the Women's Championship, off of Asuka? And onto Ember Moon, just to move it around a little bit. I mean, I don't think there's anything down there that Asuka could do anymore to remain, I don't know, champion. I don't think she really needs to be champion anymore. I think we need to build up some more girls, and I think your first best bet is Ember Moon.
Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall for Asuka, because the way they're portraying her character with the contract signing they had tonight, she's just overly confident, very cocky. She's considering Ember Moon as a pushover, so I think it's time for her to lose that belt. She'll get a rematch, and she'll be up on the main roster by March. I mean, Jesus, not March. May, excuse me.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of him, just like he said, the overconfident champion. She's going in here with a little bit too much of a chip on her shoulder. I see the upset happening. And Asuka's been touring with the SmackDown brand. I mean, she's doing house shows with them lately, so she's getting accustomed with the SmackDown women. That's why I don't see any reason why she won't be on the WrestleMania card, because it's any woman available on the SmackDown roster. She's been touring with SmackDown, so I see that happening, but I also see Ember Moon taking the win on this one.
Oh, that gets me so mad. I would love to see her and Charlotte. I want to see that in the worst way.
I would love that. And they have this draft apparently coming up, or a trade thing coming up, and I hope they shake up the women's division, because it's starting to kind of get stale on Raw.
Yeah, there's too many
SmackDown too, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I think, the main event while we're here for NXT Championship, Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Guys, I think this is just another tag-along match for Naka. I think, he's not winning it again. I think this is his last match before being called up. I think they have enough guys in NXT to shuffle around the championship, and Samoa Joe was down there for like 2+ years. I don't think Nakamura needs to be down there like that. So I think this is the last match out of these that we'll see from Shinsuke. So I'm saying Bobby Roode retains it. Guys, is it going to be a glorious night for Bobby Roode or what?
There's no question about it. Nakamura is going to the main roster, and it bothers me because the build-up to this match has not been very good. It's probably been worse, being that it's the main event, than any main event for SmackDown or Raw, because we haven't seen Shinsuke really on TV. You've seen him backstage watching a match between Ono and Bobby Roode, and before that, it was barely even mentioned. Yeah, he's going to be facing the champion at TakeOver. Well, whoop-de-doo, where the hell is he?
Yeah, now that you bring that up, there really hasn't been too much of a build-up for this match. The only thing that's build up is, the knee injury from the first match, and then he has a rematch clause. I mean, that's really it. It hasn't really been anything to really draw me in to get invested in the match. I mean, I see Bobby Roode retaining, and I see Nakamura debuting on probably SmackDown Tuesday night after Mania. I mean, it's writings on the wall for that one, I think.
Yeah,
You think SmackDown? Jesus, everybody's thinking SmackDown. I'm thinking Raw.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, because how many guys they just bring in to bring in, and then like when that official draft will be, like how many weeks after Mania, and then how many more guys will just come up within that draft. But, it's a shame, too. Like we're saying, Nakamura, this whole build-up, I feel like he's almost fading in NXT. I mean, he came in strong, came in like, a wrecking ball. How horrible was that? But now, I had no transition for that. But, he came in strong, and now it's like he's still great, but I don't think they just are using him correctly, using him for what he is, and I think he's fading a little bit at NXT, and I think he just needs to be brought up to the main roster to see if he can still have that star power up there. So I don't know. I think it's definitely the writing's on the wall, guys. Shinsuke's on his way out. Has to be. There's no need for him down there anymore, I don't think. The past few years, NXT the night before at WrestleMania, they were pretty great cards. I'm not going to go back and list what the matches were. We all know what they were, but I think this year's probably the first year I think Mania is going to beat out NXT. Do you guys feel the same way, maybe?
I totally disagree with you on this one. I think that the NXT card is a solid card. It doesn't have, say, the star power, but in terms of the overall performance and what we're going to get from that card, I think it's going to bury Mania.
It's so hard to really predict which card is going to be the best card, because when you look at Mania's card, me personally, I mean, it's WrestleMania. I'm excited for the fact that it's WrestleMania. I'm not too excited about the matches and the rush build-up. Like, the only match that got me involved, invested besides KO and Jericho, was The Miz and Cena and their little girls. Other than that, I think NXT, even though it doesn't look like the biggest card that they've had, especially like last year's Mania card that they had, I think it's going to be a card that might actually pull up there right in front of WrestleMania this year again.
All right. Well, guys, that's NXT. For everybody listening out there, let us know what your predictions are. Make sure you hit up anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at @AWrestlingPod. Like us on Facebook /AnotherWrestlingPodcast and all that other fun stuff. Just head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. But guys, this is why we're here. WrestleMania 33 coming live from Orlando. Guys, let's work our way up this card. Let's start off with the 20-hour pre-show that we're going to have. Each year we're always wondering what's going to be on the pre-show. What's on the pre-show? And we just found out days before. We have 3 matches. We have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, the Cruiserweight title match, and the SmackDown Women's title match are going to be kicking off this year's WrestleMania. Now, guys, what are your thoughts about being on the pre-show? Because honestly, in this day and age, it's not like you're watching USA for 30 minutes, then you got to get that pay-per-view, or else you miss it. It's all on the WWE Network. It's still, quote-unquote, the pre-show. It's still WrestleMania. Does it still feel to be less important for being on that pre-show?
I think so. I mean, I'm glad to see that the Battle Royal is on the kickoff show, which means the Usos streak of never being on the main card continues. The thing that pisses me off is the WWE Cruiserweight title being on the pre-show. I think these two could potentially steal the show. I think that's going to be an incredible match. And because it's on the pre-show, it's going to be in front of an empty stadium while it's filling in, so there'll be no crowd reaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a pro and a con to this title match. The pro is that it's not like the women's titles where there's 50 people involved. It's a one-on-one matchup. The con is, well, it's a shame that we didn't have a Hornswoggle Memorial Battle Royal for the Cruiserweight title. That's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, when it comes to is the pre-show a part of the card, yes and no. Meaning, if you're watching it live, that means if you're crazy and you're going to sit down at 5 o'clock and watch it straight through till, and I'm sure there's going to be an overrun to probably 11:30 this year, then yeah, you can call it the full show. But if you watch it on demand, in order to watch that Cruiserweight title match, it's not going to be on the WrestleMania event on demand. You have to search the pre-show in order to watch it. And if you buy the DVDs, it's not going to be on the main features. You have to go to special features to watch the pre-show, to watch that match. I was really against the Cruiserweight title being on the pre-show. I felt like these guys deserve so much more. I mean, we have a freaking performance. Don't get me started on these performances that have taken up time when that time could be used for the Cruiserweight title match. But then I watched 205 Live, and I got to hear what Austin Aries had to say. And it was pretty much he was responding to the fans that were bitter about them being on the pre-show, where he said it doesn't matter where we are on the card. We are going to make that moment a must-see moment. And if we're on the pre-show, then the pre-show is now must-see, and we're making it great. So that got me invested in the fact that, okay, if they're on the pre-show, maybe they might actually get that time. Then again, I'm a little nervous that they might, cut the time down, because then you got the women's title match, and you got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And I don't know who closes the pre-show. Does the title match close the pre-show, or does the Battle Royal? That's another question. So it's all over the place with that.
Yeah. And okay, well, speaking of this whole pre-show, I mean, let's just dive more into these matches. First off, like we were just saying, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal match. I'm not going to read off everybody who's in there, but let's just read off the obvious. It's Big Show versus Braun Strowman. Let's say that right there and foremost. That's pretty much what we're going to be looking for. It's going to be the Braun Strowman show. Seeing him eliminate the Big Show. But more importantly, guys, I'm kind of upset or pissed off, whatever you want to say, is that the Usos, and more importantly, American Alpha, are in this fucking Battle Royal. Now, hear me out. I mean, we had 2 weeks ago, they lost the championships on SmackDown, the tag team championships to the Usos. This really couldn't have waited for WrestleMania. I mean, because right now we're saying, hey, the SmackDown Championship isn't as good as the Raw Championship because they're on the main card, yet we don't even have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship anywhere. Granted, I always consider WrestleMania to be the night of champions, where everything should be on the line. Every championship, everything should be, showcased. If you're having fucking, how many matches are we going to be talking about soon? Like 15, whatever, 12, whatever matches. I think you could have squeezed a championship match in there for your show's brand. But at the end of the day, guys, these guys are now in the Battle Royal. Does that suck for them? Is that just horrible for that? I mean, granted, people are saying, oh, they couldn't top that match they had at Mohegan Sun that one time. But that's not the point. The point is, why'd you give away that match and not have that title change at WrestleMania to where, hey, the Usos have paid their dues, right? I mean, you couldn't give them that win at WrestleMania. I mean, what the hell? Somebody has to hate somebody in there.
I feel vindicated right now. I said this last week. I said that if this match was on the WrestleMania card, it would end up on the pre-show, and it would be a 5-minute stinker. I'm glad we got to see it on the USA Network, with a decent amount of time to it. Because let's be honest, the SmackDown tag team titles are bullshit. Now, if you look at it from this perspective, look at all the guys who get a payday because of the fucking Battle Royal is on there, as opposed to just the 4 people who are going to be in the 5-minute stinker. And, so I look at it where, I get to see some cool spots from a bunch of people. We're going to see a bunch of finishers. Should be interesting. I mean, it's always fun. I mean, it's, if it ain't fun, okay, so I'll go take a piss during this. What's the big deal?
You know what I'm looking forward to for this
Nikki
Battle
Cross?
Royal? Well, fortunately, she's not going to be in the Battle Royal. I'm hoping we get another appearance from the man Tatanka. Randomly. How How freaking random was that last year?
I remember that. I was dying. I'm looking at Credo because I think we watched together, right?
Yeah.
Is that Tatanka?
Yeah, because he never got like an entrance. We just saw him walk in. Like they just all walked in together, right? And
I'm sitting there watching the stare down between Big Show and Shaq, and all of a sudden Tatanka's right there in the corner, and my focus is no longer on the stare down. I'm trying to figure out why is Tatanka here. What is going on?
It's like, he had his gear ready, waiting for that phone call. If that one time, like, shit, we're short like 2 guys. Who do we got on the list? Fucking call Tatanka. Like, what part of the day did, like, we decide that Tatanka is going to be in this battle royal? And
well, they would have called the Godfather, but he was getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. Come on.
But who was left out of actual WrestleMania? Like, who was the one guy that wasn't even in the battle royal, wasn't even on the card, and fucking Tatanka got his spot over him,
Seth Rollins,
sitting in the back?
Oh, I wonder who is going to be the throwback jobber this year. I mean, Gobbledygooper, no. Bastion Booger, I don't know. Like, oh my god. This is JobberMania, guys. I'm sorry, this is the Jobber Battle Royal. I mean, you got every jobber on there with the exception of 8 people. And this really is just mainly about Braun Strowman, Big Show, and I think Sami Zayn is going to play a huge part in this Battle Royal. It should be interesting. I mean, there's going to be a lot of entertaining spots. Hopefully we get Tatanka. We'll see, though. We'll see.
And the guys, too, this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Yeah, you win a trophy at the end of this, and yeah, they say your name on the shows after a few weeks saying you won this Battle Royal, but should this Battle Royal mean something more, like, I don't know, a shot at any title or something else besides just winning a trophy? Should it have more meaning to it, or is it just good enough as it is being that Andre match?
Yeah, they need to have more value to it, because I absolutely hate seeing that trophy a month after WrestleMania on every show. I mean, if there's a winner of the Battle Royal, that trophy will stalk you for a month, because that trophy is everywhere you go for the next month to 2 months. I mean, the WWE likes to cram that trophy down your throat after the fact.
The Cruiserweight Championship's on the line. Neville versus Austin Aries. Now, these two guys have kind of redefined this Cruiserweight division, because at first they kind of just brought in, anybody who was out there in a way, and we all kind of saw Neville being added to this division. I did not see Austin Aries being added to it at first, but when he came back from injury, it was probably the right move for him. Are these the kind of guys that Vince wants to see as his Cruiserweight main focus? Like, these are the guys that you want to see showcased on Raw or, just for this WrestleMania, and then save the other guys for the other 205 Live? I mean, this is, I think, a lot better than seeing Jack Gallagher versus Neville or something like that, in my opinion. Seeing Austin Aries, these two big top names, I think they're going to be kicking their ass, or kicking themselves in the ass for putting it probably on that pre-show. That's how I think good it's going to be.
When you think of 205 Live after the Cruiserweight tournament, it really was a stinker. It's since grown with the additions of your Rich Swans. When Neville came in, Akira Tozawa, I mean, Brian Kendrick was the centerpiece of this whole division, really, in my opinion, because he had major feuds with everybody. They put on the best TV since its inception, I think. It just got better and better. And for this to be on the pre-show, I think, is a travesty. But I think they did it right. They got the two best names. I have a feeling if it wasn't going to be Neville and he wasn't hurt, it would have been Cedric Alexander. That would have been a hell of a triple threat, by the way. I mean, if you added Aries to that. But again, it's a shame. It's been the best TV. It's been something that I guaranteed watched live every week. And for it to be on the pre-show sucks balls.
Last but not least, I think we're giving more time to the pre-show than it deserves. But lastly, did they kind of ruin Naomi's return on SmackDown this week? Shouldn't that have been saved for WrestleMania? Because I think, for me, after just seeing that, I feel like they're just going to give her the championship back. It is against any lady on the SmackDown roster, whether maybe they're not really on the roster. Maybe they could use Asuka in this match too. But, from Alexa Bliss to Mickie James, Carmella, Natalya, Becky Lynch, and now the returning Naomi. I don't know. I think to me they ruined that surprise. That should have been saved for WrestleMania. They should have introduced everybody and then played Naomi's music, considering she's from Orlando. And just for her to win in Orlando, do you guys think that's pretty much what we're going to get out of this?
I don't care.
I don't see her winning in Orlando because it's her hometown, and you know how the WWE is with you being in your hometown. You're gonna lose in your hometown. So, I mean, if that's their surprise entrance for this match, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, and no disrespect to Naomi, she's amazing in the ring, but I want to see something better. It would have been cool to see her show up at Mania. It wouldn't have added anything special to the match, but I mean, it's just what are we working with here, guys? Like this is what you offer me. We don't even know what the stipulation of the match
And
is.
exactly, what kind of match is this shit?
Yeah, we have no idea.
There's some decent names in there. You got a Mickie James, you got an Natalia. I mean, Alexa Bliss has been doing her damn thing. I mean, we got a couple of scrubs in there because I consider Becky Lynch a scrub now. You got Carmella. Whoever the hell else is going to be in this thing, I don't even know what kind of match it is.
Is this going to be the same stipulation like WrestleMania 30 with AJ, the Diva Invitational?
You get eliminated, yeah. And I think, it goes along the lines of everybody gets a trophy, like that kind of mentality. No, like, I feel like WrestleMania should be for the best, the people who, get over the most and whatnot, to where not everybody fucking needs to be on the show. Just fucking have a one-on-one match. Anyway, I think we gave enough time to the pre-show. Let's start at the bottom.
Oh, wait, Credo, wait, one thing.
Yeah.
There is one good thing about this women's title thing.
What's that? Oh, no, don't say it.
Because Carmella is in it, that means your boy James Ellsworth is going to be on WrestleMania, baby. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He better not be in that Rumble either. He better not get double the time, the most appearances on WrestleMania.
I want to see him in that Rumble. The only reason why I want to see him in that Rumble because I want to see him violently thrown out like he was at the Royal Rumble.
Not by the hair of my chinny chin. James Ellsworth. Guys, the pre-show, man. Well, that's it. Let's just get right into the main show, though. I mean, this is why we're here. WrestleMania 33. There's no particular order, but let's try to start at the bottom, and let's start with Shane McMahon, shall we? Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. Guys, we complained about it. The world has been complaining about it. But this isn't no non-sanctioned match. It's not a street fight. It's a fucking regular wrestling match we're getting with Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. Are we wasting AJ Styles in WrestleMania 33? I know deep down he says it's not a waste because he's there and yada, yada, yada. But still, Shane McMahon, 40-something years old, going against AJ Styles. Guys, I know we'll probably get something good out of this here or there, but still. AJ Styles better win. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to be hearing a lot of yelling coming from my house if fucking McMahon goes over AJ Styles. That's all. That's all I really want to say.
There's a couple of things I want to say here. I think this match is going to be better than what we're expecting. It's not Shane's forte because it's not some kind of no DQ match where we can, accentuate his positives and hide the negatives type of thing. But we were saying this in would it pertain to a possible AJ Styles versus Shawn Michaels match. AJ Styles is a ring general. He is going to call that match. I think he's going to make Shane look better than really anybody else could. Now, that being said, I think he should have been in the WWE title match, and I think the build-up for Shane McMahon versus Randy Orton would have been a hell of a lot better. But they just had so much invested with him and Wyatt. I could see why. But that leaves the poor bastard with Shane McMahon. It sucks. It sucks either way. But, let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a stinker, but I think it's going to be better than I'm going to give it credit for.
See, my problem with this match is the fact that, you're taking a lot away from Shane because the way this match probably would have gone across, and I could care less for the big spots, but if you did a no DQ match or a no disqualification match, you're doing a regular basic wrestling match. And yeah, granted, AJ is a ring general, but I don't know how much you can do with those Shane McMahon flurry punches. I mean,
come on, you know you love those rabbit punches,
oh
baby.
my God, they're horrible, man. They look so non-realistic. Like my little niece can throw better combinations than that. And it's sad because the guy actually does train with guys like Phil Nurse, who's like one of the best Muay Thai coaches in the world, and he's throwing punches like that. You're taking away from Shane's game. Now you're keeping him grounded in the ring, and I think he's very limited when it comes to a technical wrestling match. And this is this is an official match where you go out of the ring, there's going to be a 10 count. There's going to be a disqualification. Like, I don't see how this match is going to be good at all. If you gave me a no disqualification, then I'd be okay. There might be some potential with this. They could do something, but what are they doing, guys? What are they smoking that dope?
Now,
Kids are smoking.
I said it before in the other shows, they both lost last year in their WrestleMania matches. Shane to Taker and AJ to Chris Jericho. But guys, they're facing each other this year. Are we all on the same page here? Do you want to see AJ Styles win, or somebody hoping out there for McMahon to win?
Oh yeah, let's pray that Shane wins so we can see more of him strutting his stuff. Get the fuck out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you, Credo? Come on. Moving along.
All right. Well, AJ Styles hoping for the best, I guess. Let's all hope. One match I thought would have been better would have been AJ Styles versus John Cena if they didn't waste all the matches in the beginning of the year. That could have been, I would have been fine with that rubber match happening at WrestleMania. But, alas, we have John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. Guys, we talk about not too much build-up for WrestleMania during certain things, but The Miz has been on fire lately, and, honestly, his build-up would have been better against Daniel Bryan with all those segments on Talking Smack. But going against John Cena and Nikki Bella with Maurice. Maurice hasn't been in the ring in a while. She kind of just came back and has been just his valet. She hasn't been wrestling at all, so it'll be interesting to see what she can do or can still do. But guys, at the end of the day, I'm hoping Miz and Maurice turn an upset here and defeat John Cena and Nikki Bella. I mean, maybe it's just wishful thinking. I know writing's on the wall, but John Cena ain't sticking around after this match. He has some stuff to film, as he's mentioned before. And I think also people are saying this could be Nikki Bella's last match. So, guys, what do you say?
I got to say, this has been by far the best build-up going into WrestleMania. And who would have thought a John Cena, Nikki Bella, and Miz match would have been great? We all bitched and complained when we first heard the rumors about this, but they're throwing out real jabs at each other. Like, they are getting personal. I mean, they're digging into John Cena's personal life, the fact that he doesn't want to get married, allegedly, the fact that he doesn't want to have kids. They're throwing literally fire at each other, and I'm loving every second these two are on TV arguing with each other. I mean, the shit that Cena said about Maurice on SmackDown was crazy. How he told her that she has done nothing, she's a waste. I mean, like, most people would cry if they had somebody saying that to them. And then rewinding it a little bit to what Miz did with the Total Bellas spoof, and then he got serious, and that was just real talk from the Miz. And Miz is speaking for every internet fan that had a problem with the backstage politics of John Cena. And John Cena's coming out there and just throwing jabs back at him. I love this build-up. Hopefully the match itself is as good as the build-up is. If Miz and Maurice do win, which I hope they do, I don't see Cena getting, I don't see Miz getting the win over Cena. I see Maurice getting the win over Nikki to get the win. I just don't, as much as I would love to see the Miz beat Cena, I just don't see them pulling that trigger.
Oh my God. This is going to be the biggest blue balls ever, because like Mike said, this has been the best build-up out of any program on the entire fucking card. And Cena said it best on SmackDown. They're just going to steamroll over them. And hopefully they find a way to win, being Miz and Maurice, because, again, who's going to be on SmackDown Tuesday? It's going to be Miz and it's going to be Maurice. Who? I can't. Please cut me off before I start dropping more F-bombs.
Well, we'll see what happens. They don't do too many of these intergender matches, teaming up with each other. So, hey, at the end of the day, hopefully the Miz pulls one out of his hat for a win, I guess, over Cena again. But guys, let's just keep this WrestleMania train going, shall we? Like I said, it's in no particular order, but let's talk about Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Once again, ever since probably WrestleMania 28, we've been talking about, is it Taker's last match? We don't know what happens backstage. We don't really know what's said, except for on the dirt sheet, so we don't know how The Undertaker really is. From what we hear, he's been hurt, he's been hurting and this and that, but like I said, they've been saying that since WrestleMania 28. We're at WrestleMania 33. The dead man is still going, and this time he's going against the big dog. Fucking stupid nickname. Roman Reigns, bringing it to The Undertaker. Guys, the streak is over. There is no more specialty with The Undertaker matches in my eyes. When that streak died, so did any point of facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So for this, I mean, whose yard is it, guys? Is Undertaker going to beat Roman Reigns, which I think would get an amazing crowd reaction, or are we going to get Roman Reigns booed out of Orlando for beating The Undertaker, and in his possible, once again, final match? I don't know.
I don't see The Undertaker losing this match. Come on now. This is the one time where I actually agree with it. I do not want Roman. I would cheer for James Ellsworth over Roman Reigns. I would cheer for. Think of somebody who I despise, Credo. Just throw the name out there. I would cheer for that person over Roman Reigns. But in this case, The Undertaker, again, the storyline with the streak, it's done. Now we're playing. This is my yard. Okay, I can roll with this. It's a decent build-up. I can do this. I just if Roman wins this match, we all know what that means. It's him versus Brock next year for the title, for the two people who are the only ones to have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
It just makes no sense for Taker to win. Like you guys all said, the streak is over. Taker does nothing for me. A 50-year-old man who has trouble turning to his left to take a spear. He has trouble walking down the ramp to get to the ring. I mean, he can't put on the matches anymore. It's not believable to me that you got the guy that you invested so much stock into, you made pretty much invincible, lose to a guy who just is on the verge of having another hip replacement surgery. You want to turn Roman heel, best way to do it, have him beat the guy that everybody loves. Yep. You put him out on Raw, that's going to be atomic heat right there. That's how you turn him heel. I mean, he's already getting booed now, but the day he beats Taker, that is ultimate heel level right there. Like you've said before, Cooter, who's going to be there the next day? Not Taker. Taker's going back to Texas. He ain't going to be there on Monday night after Raw.
I'm like, I can't agree with you more. This is, I think what you're saying too, I think we probably mentioned it, but that's it. I mean, the crowd reaction down there. This is the land of the marks down there. He is going to get booed. And then the next night on Raw, when he brags about beating Taker, he's going to get booed even more. If any time they want to turn Roman heel, this is the time if you let him beat Taker. And like you said, Taker's wearing out, man. I think he's almost in that Ric Flair stage to where he should have went out when Brock beat the streak. He was still okay then, but the past few years it's still like old man walking, and he's definitely showing his age now, and he's definitely limited at what he can do. Definitely in that Ric Flair category, if you will. I know they want to keep holding him on for one more year, but when will it end, guys? Maybe we won't even know. They probably won't even mention that it's his last match, and we probably won't even know till next year when we realize there is no more Undertaker matches. But, at the end of the day, I'm saying if you want to make the bad guy out of him, this is where you're going to have to do it. And I'm waiting for that crowd reaction, because either way, you know who the face and heel is in this. Taker's going to get that pop. Roman Reigns is going to get that boo, no matter what you do. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Dead man walking. But how about that ramp? Holy shit. Taker, man, they better fucking roll him out there. That's going to fucking be like a half hour just to get down to the ring.
Better start walking now. But that ramp, I saw the video, that goes all the way higher than the normal stage. That ramp goes all the way up to the upper deck of Camping World Stadium. If that video that I saw, that aerial shot, is the exact way that the ramp is designed, wow.
They're gonna have those little ring carts, driving the guys out to the ringer, especially for Taker. But
that is worse than the Rumble.
It's gonna be interesting, though. We'll see what happens. But hey, Dead Man could be dying this weekend. All right, guys. I think this is one of the best hype matches too. It's had a great story for the past few years, especially with Seth Rollins being out. The non-sanctioned match. This match, a lot of people are saying a lot of surprises can happen in this. But we'll talk about some surprises coming up. But guys, Triple H versus Seth Rollins. Once again, I don't care about Triple H as much, seeing him wrestle all the time at just WrestleMania. But I think he's I'm a lot better at seeing him wrestle at WrestleMania than I am seeing like Shane McMahon or Undertaker at this stage. I mean, Triple H, is still Triple H, I think, in my eyes. He's in incredible shape. He can still go, and I think he's almost turning into that Undertaker match to where it's almost an honor to work with Triple H out of WrestleMania now. It's like, oh, who gets the Triple H match this year? It's like that honor almost of working with the Undertaker, if you will. So I don't know. I'm kind of weary about this though, because I still don't know the health of Seth Rollins. They rushed him back. I'm sure he's selling that leg injury more than what he needs to be on Raw and whatnot, but Cooter, I think you said it too. You didn't want to see a Seth Rollins at 50% or 60%. You want to see Seth Rollins at WrestleMania at 100%. Do you guys think he's at 100%? And what do you feel about this match? Are we going to see another? Is it going to be an obvious job for Triple H again?
I say 70%, maybe a little less. That's where Seth Rollins is. I mean, I just can't see. What was it? An MCL, Mike?
Allegedly an MCL.
Allegedly an MCL. Allegedly. I mean, that's a motherfucker of an injury. I don't know. And again, I couldn't agree with what you said with what I said. I didn't want to see this match unless it was a 100% healthy Seth Rollins. I think it takes away from the whole story. We've had a great build-up that's been a couple of years in the making. It's been a giant, long crescendo, and now we're at a point where, okay, we're finally going to get to the payoff, and it might be a bigger blue ball than the fucking, I don't know, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, if Seth can't go.
I got to say, I think the joke's on us guys, because I think that whole knee injury was kayfabe. I've come to that conclusion. Because if you allegedly tore your MCL, you're not going to take shots by a crutch or get put in I forgot that name of the submission that Triple H put him in.
Was that the Indian Deathlock or whatever?
I think it's called the Indian Deathlock. You're not going to get thrown in those submissions and create more tension to the MCL joints. It's just not possible. So I honestly think maybe he might have tweaked his knee, and maybe he might have just a minor sprain, and then they took the ball and ran with it for a while just to build a compelling story. And I see that happening. I see Rollins is at 100%. He's going to play off the knee injury. I've come to the conclusion that the joke's on us, that's a kayfabe injury. And
now, guys, surprises like I spoke of, a lot of people are talking about this to where, Samoa Joe doesn't have anything going on this weekend. And we've seen Finn Balor here and there on the shows this, the house shows this past week. If any place we could see them run in or do anything, would this be the match to see Finn Balor or Samoa Joe or anybody else? I know it's a non-sanctioned match. I mean, I don't know. Do we see any outside help with this?
I think we're more likely to see a Samoa Joe in the Kevin Owens Chris Jericho match, because they're trying to build that stable up, it looks like, and You've seen Joe kind of come out on Kevin Owens' behalf once before. I mean, it could go either way, but, I definitely see when he comes out, you're definitely getting a Finn Balor. Oh, it was such a big surprise. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about when they're saying we're going to get some surprises, but I don't see anything that's going to make me say, holy shit, I can't believe he's there. Unless, the Hardys are out there serving drinks.
But I don't want to see Finn Balor just run in. I want to see a Finn Balor entrance at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the body paint. God damn, I don't want to see him crawl down that ramp. But still, I want to see. I don't want to see him in the leather jacket Bullet Club. I want to see the Demon out there. But I don't know. Who knows what will happen in this match? I'm just throwing that out there because if he isn't at 100%, if Seth Rollins isn't at 100%, okay, Triple H is carrying the match a little bit, but if we're not having a 100% Seth Rollins match, do we need like that Samoa Joe interference or something with this just to maybe give Triple H that win to where we can continue this feud all the way down till SummerSlam to where, maybe we have Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins the next few months and then the rematch of Triple H versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam or something to that effect. I'm just thinking to where if they're not, 100% to go, but they kind of just gave him the match just to he didn't have that match last year, so I don't know. I think this is going to be one of the best matches, though. I think during the night, at least one of the ones I'm looking forward to, especially with that promo they have with Metallica playing. But guys, let's keep that show going. We're on WrestleMania. The Raw Tag Team titles are showcased in the main show, the main WrestleMania show, which is now a ladder match, guys. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, the Club, the champions versus Enzo Amore, Big Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro. You know what? This whole WrestleMania was missing was a ladder match, and I think they just realized that last week. And they're throwing it with the tag team championships. Guys, do you like this? Do you hate it? And I don't know. For me, I think you really need to give it to Enzo and Big Cass. They have the fans behind them. They haven't pulled the trigger on them lately. Especially when they debuted. I was hoping they would get the championships right away, but still, I think they're just waiting for this moment down here. I'm hoping for Enzo and Cass to turn up with the championships. But what do you guys say out of this ladder match now?
Oh, God. The last thing I want to see is Enzo Amore with a fucking title. I love the guy. I love Big Cass. I think Big Cass is going to have a great singles career. But how believable is this as a team championship material when you're talking about somebody like Anderson and Gallows, and then you got Sheamus and Cesaro, and who on this roster can you see doing a spot off of a ladder? That's what's even crazier to me. I think it's the wrong match to put the ladder in. I think that would have been better for, say, the IC title match, or maybe even Owens and Jericho. That would have been interesting. But I mean, these are just, what, out of the 6 people in this match, 5 of them are practically giants. They're huge. I just don't see good spots in a decent ladder match coming from this. I don't.
I got to say, adding the ladder, that's them trying to add more interest to it, which, I'm not too excited about it, but I was thinking about it today, and that's probably a more sensible way of having Enzo and Cass win the titles rather than a pinfall on these guys, because a lot they'll figure out a way to isolate everybody else while Enzo would be the guy to climb up that ladder and grab the titles. I see Enzo hitting that same exact spot that Shawn Michaels did at WrestleMania 10, jumping off the ladder, because Enzo's always went on record to say how much he's obsessed with Shawn Michaels. He has a Heartbreak Kid tattoo on his arm. Mm-hmm. So I see that spot happening, but you put a ladder in there, it's a more sensible way to give them titles because they stole the title belts from the Club, and then the Club will probably get the titles back in later days or two.
Yeah, once again, too, I think they gave the Club the championships. They've actually held it a little bit longer than other, new champions that have had the belt for, less than a month, but still, once again, I figure changing the titles around just before Mania, within like the beginning of this calendar year, 2017, I feel like it's premature. Like, why? We have WrestleMania. If you want to change anything, change it then. That should be your end game. But, Gallows and Anderson, coming off their run in New Japan, as champions, and they kind of held them back for a while where they wouldn't let them beat New Day because they had to beat that stupid streak, and they kind of lost steam with that whole stupid thing just so they could have a streak and a whole new a record being broken. So that kind of like lost steam because of that, because somebody needed to erase Demolition Streak or whatever. But man, out of this, I'm hoping Enzo and Big Cass get this, because out of all these teams, they deserve it. And I think the crowd's going to be going crazy for that kind of a win. I think they're behind them, and they need it. I don't know. But
Credo, you do love a good feel-good story, don't you? I think it's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard.
Zack Ryder
I want to see a dominant team like the Club win those belts. I would like Cesaro and Sheamus. I can't stand that team of the mouthpiece and the muscle. I hate that. I've always hated that dynamic. No, don't do it to me.
Well, but I'll tell you, if Enzo and Cass win it, I hope they do not do a fucking Zack Ryder and give him that WrestleMania moment to fucking lose it again the next night on Raw. So I'm afraid of that happening, but at the same time, I would hope for Enzo and Cass to win this. So whatever, we'll see what happens. I think another match we're all I'm looking forward to at least seeing is the Intercontinental Championship match. Dean Ambrose, who hasn't been relevant in quite some time, versus Baron Corbin. I'm hoping Corbin win, plain and simple. I don't want to get too much into this. I just want to see Baron Corbin beat Dean Ambrose. Plain and simple. That's really where I'm going at. Baron Corbin, I think, needs that IC championship for everything he's done. He's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner from last year, so I think it only serves him right, especially the kind of push he's getting, that kind of direction to keep going towards the top. And like I said, Dean Ambrose, man, he honestly hasn't been relevant in quite some time, and they've kind of pushed him down the ladder. They pushed him down that ladder. They don't even want him in the main event anymore.
He's not relevant, but he was the WWE champion when they started the brand split, and he was the person who finally knocked off The Miz and took that IC belt off of him for more than a week. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody remembers that.
I just remembered it.
That's
because I'm awesome. No. That being said, I couldn't agree with you more. I think Baron Corbin is ready for a little bit of a push, and Dean is going to give him a great match. I think this could be this is one of the matches that I'm definitely looking forward to. I've been big on Baron Corbin, even though he was green while he was down in NXT. That finisher is just so awesome, and he pretty much can hit it from, I don't want to say anywhere, but there's a lot of situations where you've seen him just pull that out of the hat out of nowhere. So I'm looking forward to this, definitely.
This is going to be one of those matches, I think, that's like, hey guys, you got 10 minutes, and that's it. A lot of things are going to get cut short, I have a feeling, and I don't know. I see this match being one of those. But moving right along, one match, the United States title on the line. Chris Jericho, who's going to be going on tour right after WrestleMania or something to that effect. He'll be off TV versus Kevin Owens, if that's not the writing on the wall, guys. What a big step down, I must say, because this, including AJ Styles, guys who have held, respectively, their own brand's main championship for 6 months or so, to be downgraded. I feel like this is a downgrade because Brock and Goldberg did not need that Universal title. I would have loved seeing a title versus title match, or hell, just a fucking Universal Championship, Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. That would have made more sense to me. But for the United States Championship, isn't this for mid-card guys? I feel so bad for Kevin Owens, because you're like the WWE champion, regardless of whatever it's called, the Universal Championship. But technically, you're the champion on that brand. And then, hell, we're going to make you lose at the pay-per-view before WrestleMania just so we can put that on these other guys. And, man, it sucks. But I'm happy that these guys are getting a match versus each other. I mean, what a build-up with the whole team, team friendship and all this other stuff that these guys were. It's been a good build. Another story for WrestleMania that's kind of had a good build throughout the year. But once again, I'm still just kind of pissed off that the Universal Championship's not involved with this. Because, hell, I would have loved to see Chris Jericho add one more to the resume of winning the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, only to lose maybe the next night on Raw. But still, guys, does it bother you that it's the United States Championship in this match? Or, we've said it before, we've talked about it, but we're here now. What do you say?
I say I want to see the match. At this point, I've given up on any build-up for any match. Let's just hope that the card is halfway decent. That's where we're at, especially when it comes to these top tier matches. I mean, again, Kevin Owens held down Raw for how long with that belt, only to get it taken from him, a month before WrestleMania? You know what, Vince? You just made my fucking list, all right? That's all I got to say about that. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my entire fucking life, that you take the belt off of a guy a month before the biggest show of the year. I don't understand this. I just, please, Mike, save me.
Wow. You don't really realize how long this card is until you actually break down the matches and how exhausting it can be. This match, I thought personally it should have been for the Universal title. It would have been a lot better. But I'm going to take the match because I know it's going to be a great match, and at least they're on the card. At least they have had. I want to say they've, with the exception of Seth Rollins and Triple H, they've had the longest build-up. I mean, they had that slow burn for the turn, and then now you have the match happening for the United States title. It's going to go to Kevin Owens. Hopefully he does some heelish stuff and turns the United States title into the Canadian title to piss off the fans. Wow, I am exhausted talking about this card, guys. It's long. And then we didn't even break down the Pitbull performance. That's a critique all on its own. Oh, my God.
That's where we lie, guys. This is what's going to happen, because they really need to balance out this card, because like what we're doing right now, talking about these matches, think about the crowds that are going to be sitting there watching these 12-plus matches, to where, all right, you don't want to kill the crowd with this awesome match and then have another awesome match right on after that. So it's like, I'm going to be kind of curious of how all these matches balance out, to where they kind of think, put that in the back of their mind of like, hey, if this match is going to be awesome, we kind of have to, dumb the crowd down with like a nice little fluffer match, which out of all these matches, I don't know which one's going to be considered the fluffer matches, but anyway, it's getting there, guys. We're almost there. We got only 20 more matches to no, we got a few more matches to talk about, but poor Kevin Owens at the end of the day. That's all I got to say. The Raw Women's title elimination match, Bayley, who's the champion, versus Charlotte, versus Nia Jax, versus Sasha Banks.
You want to talk about exhausting? This storyline is exhausting.
Oh my God, yeah.
I've never been so upset with WWE creative Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. You had the ultimate underdog story with the streak that could have been done at WrestleMania. It would have been so much more compelling. Instead, they just decided to do it early for I don't know whatever reason why. And now, like, I am not invested into this match because that title has been passed around so much. And the only person that hasn't had that title in this match was Nia Jax. And if Nia Jax wins, it might shake it up a little bit. But I don't see that happening. It's just Bayley could have been like a great story coming into WrestleMania. And like I just previously said, you had the underdog story versus the streak. And that would have been great for WrestleMania. But they had to bust their load really quickly, and they had to pull a Jim from American Pie. Didn't even get to put it in. He just touched it, and it just splood all over the place.
The thing that bothers me about this title match is the fact that it should be a one-on-one match. It's like you're saying, you had that ultimate underdog story, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to piggyback too much, but it seems that almost every title match has got to have some kind of triple threat, or we got
everybody gets a trophy. Remember, it's like everybody's
right. Everybody gets a goddamn trophy. Enough of this bullshit. Can we just put the best person, the number one contender, up against the fucking champion? Whether it's a tag match, whether it's a cruiserweight, whether it's the women's title, so on and so forth. Let's just one-on-one matches. It's cool to have the occasional, but 3 championship matches are multiple opponents. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, at the end of the night, I do not want to fucking see Charlotte Flair win fucking again. Like, I'm done with it. Like, what has to happen in my mind for this match to be good for me is that you have to have Nia Jax eliminate Charlotte. Set up that feud down the line, Nia Jax versus Charlotte. Build that up. She does not need to be in the fucking title match anymore. I'm done with it. then leaving Sasha versus Bayley, or however you get to that point, but have Sasha go heel, have her turn a little bit, just more mean aggression towards Bayley. And then I would give Sasha Banks, for the shit she's done from last year's Mania, even from anything from NXT till now, I think Sasha deserves that win at WrestleMania. And I think the great story out of this could be Bayley all year long having that underdog story to where she won that title really fast. And then since Mania, she lost it. And, you just keep her as that underdog throughout the year of trying to go and trying to get back to that championship. And, maybe next year you have Bayley win it at WrestleMania. But for me, you cannot have Charlotte Flair fucking win again. Nia Jax is too early. I think you really need to build her up a lot more this year, especially put her against Charlotte, build that feud up, have that going on. And, for me, I don't know. I think Sasha deserves it out of any one of these to win it, especially that match last year, which was probably one of the best matches during WrestleMania with that triple threat. So, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm hoping Sasha Banks wins.
I'm hoping Nia Jax wins. I kind of like that bitch. I'm just saying, and I don't call her a bitch out of disrespect. That's just my favorite
for
word.
A chubby.
Listen, I don't mind a little bit of meat on a lady. It has nothing to do with that. I think she.
Adam's apple.
Yeah, right. I think
she was a plus size model. Get that right.
See, there you go. You know what? Model's a model. All right.
I'm gonna send you some model photos.
There's a difference between a Twinkie and a box of Twinkies. You know what I'm saying? That's how I roll. But the point is, she's made such strides since she's left NXT. The mean streak, her in-ring performance, her ring psychology, everything has gotten better. She's progressed so much. So I think she's ready, and I think due to her size, it's believable that she could beat up all these chicks and possibly get that win. So there we go. Mm-hmm. Nia Jax for a box of Twinkies and a title, baby.
All right, guys. Well, hey, we're in the home stretch. We got 2 more matches to talk about, I think. But all right, guys, the WWE title match. Now, technically, I consider this the real WWE Championship. Bray Wyatt, champion versus Randy Orton. Guys, out of any title that changes place this weekend, this should not be one of them, in my opinion. Bray Wyatt has deserved this for years now. The man has fought Cena, Undertaker, and The Rock at WrestleMania, and now he's going into WrestleMania as champion. The dude needs to walk out of WrestleMania as champion. Build Bray Wyatt up more. Randy Orton does not deserve, does not deserve is the wrong word. Does not need another WWE championship. Does not need a championship win at WrestleMania. The dude's been there. He's done that. We know his resume. Give it time to let other people shine, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a good match. And I hate for Brock Lesnar and Goldberg to follow them if that's going to be the case, or it's going to be shuffled around anyway. But still, my opinion, the only thing I want to talk about is Bray Wyatt needs to walk in as champion and leave as champion. Guys, what do you say?
I'm torn because I think it would be cool if Randy won it and kind of took control of the Wyatt family and kind of brought them all back together. It's like, now you kneel to me. I'm the god. Because I really love that dynamic between him and Bray. I thought they were a great team. It was a really cool stable. We all knew where it was going. It's just a shame all good things must come to an end. Just like us talking about this goddamn card.
Exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am tired, but this match, like you said, Credo, this is my world title match on this card. These guys are great in the ring together. They were great in the ring as a team. I see Bray Wyatt coming out of this because it makes perfect sense. You want to build this guy up to be like the next Undertaker or the next Dead Man in a way. You have to have him coming out of this with the title. That's the only thing that makes sense because it helps build him and make him stronger for the future. When you got Orton, who I'm not saying Orton doesn't deserve a title run, he just doesn't deserve it or doesn't need it right this very second.
Definitely. I just hope this match does not need no shenanigans or anything. Just a clean win for Bray Wyatt, and let's just move on to the main event, guys.
You ready to fall asleep?
It's going to be a 45-minute barn burner, right? We're going to get this crazy match out of Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Oh my gosh, guys! First of all, let's just say, how long do you think this match will be? I'm gonna put on the clock 7 minutes. I'm gonna say 7 minutes for this match. What do you guys say?
I say it's going to be a 50-minute match, and Meltzer's going to give it 7 stars.
I see them doing the same spot that they did at WrestleMania 20, where the test of strength.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just to get under the skin of the fans that bitched about the match.
And you know they're gonna do it too, because it's just it's a big fuck you. How many
big
later?
middle finger? They're gonna do it. I have a feeling, and then damn well it's probably gonna last maybe 3 minutes after that.
Fucking Goldberg, man, was sweating so much after taking an F5. He didn't even do anything. I can't even imagine what he's going to be doing now. And he even said on a recent podcast, too, that he's been hurting training because obviously he's fucking older now and he can't train the same way like he used to when he was younger. And it's hurting his body, and he's just over it. And I think he pretty much said he's going to be done, spoiler alert, after Mania. So I think we all know that's what's happening. Brock Lesnar becoming champion. But guys, if this is a quick match, I mean, they've built it up to where fucking Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar with a spear and record timing to where what will happen with this? I mean, how fast, how slow, or what's going to happen? I think deep down inside me, the Mark really wants to see that WrestleMania 9 ending where, okay, Goldberg loses, Brock wins, and then Brock's so cocky that he's like, fucking send me somebody else out. I want to beat somebody else. And then that's where we get the Demon, Finn Balor, coming out.
How many times do you want to see him on WrestleMania, for Christ's sake,
Well, this
Rito?
is just the other spot you could see him. So this is my only other time to bring it. This is the wishful thinking part of me, to where if this match is so short, I mean, do you have somebody else challenge him in a surprise match?
I got a great idea. You could have 2 people challenge him. First, he beats Goldberg in 2 seconds. Then James Ellsworth comes out and does like another 2-second job.
James Ellsworth has gotten too much time on just tonight.
3 times he'll be on the WrestleMania card then. Hell yeah.
So you take it off of Kevin Owens, you put it on a part-timer to lose to another part-timer. Do you guys see Brock Lesnar doing anything if he wins and there's nothing else after this match? I mean, does he lose?
I think he's getting a title reign. I think he's getting a nice lengthy title reign. I think they want to build him versus Roman for next year. The rematch, no interruptions, no fucking money in the briefcase, no Seth Rollins. Let's finish what we started, because there between the two of them there was never really a winner. And if Roman beats The Undertaker, you go with that. Okay, this is for the title against the 2 people who beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I mean, it's a great, compelling story. I'm going to be very pissed off, but it is what it is. I could see somebody else coming down and maybe getting that belt off of him. I'd like to see that too, but let's just hope that test of strength doesn't last more than 45, 50 seconds.
I see that scenario happening, but at SummerSlam. I don't think they're going to stretch it out that long. I mean, I read a report that Lesnar, he's scheduled to be there the night after Raw, and then I don't think he's scheduled for like another month after that.
Well,
it's weird because with him, his schedule varies. Because I remember when he, sometimes he would be on the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania, but then there was the one where he wanted Rollins right after he lost that belt, and that's when they suspended him, and he was gone for like 2 or 3 months or something like that, and didn't get his rematch right away. So
allegedly suspended.
Right.
Allegedly.
Well, you know what I mean. It's just weird how they schedule him, because you typically save him for the big 4, and you occasionally throw him on one of the smaller cards, but I don't know. We'll see.
Cooter, can I tell you this? I don't think they schedule him. I think he schedules them.
Yeah, that's true too. I think I'm going hunting. Fuck you guys.
I could see them be like, all right, well, give me some storyline. Tell me I'm suspended. You guys don't have enough money to cover me for the next couple of weeks. I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, guys, I mean, wow, what a card. I mean, man, how many fucking matches have we talked about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, including the pre-show. Holy shit. Fucking, what a WrestleMania,
Unlucky
guys.
13, there better be a 14, man.
At WrestleMania 29, they cut a match because of timing, and that happened to do with the Bellas and, it was Sandow and the Funkasaurus and whatnot. I forget what the whole match was, but they cut a match from WrestleMania. I don't see them cutting a match this year, but if they did cut something, guys, what would you want to lose out of this card?
I would say the SmackDown. No, fuck the Battle Royal. I really don't give a shit about the Battle Royal. And you got to remember, like, yeah, they did cut that match, but that was also when Mania was on pay-per-view. Now you have your own network. You don't worry about time constraints.
There you go.
I was just going to say the same thing. Cody, you took the words right out of my mouth. They have no time constraints whatsoever. Last year, WrestleMania didn't end until 11:30. Yeah. Or, no, actually, let me take that back. It went beyond 11:30 last year. It was ridiculous. It started at 5 and it went to like 11:45-ish around there. Yep. It was so exhausting, and I feel like this year is going to be that, probably even worse.
It's like a shift at work. Fuck that. I'm going to need a nap in the middle of a fucking card.
Well, that apparently the what everyone calls the bathroom break, the Pitbull performance, which is a waste of my patience.
Are you guys going to end up watching the season finale of Walking Dead? Is pretty much the main
absolutely.
part? Are you guys going to turn away WrestleMania for the season finale?
You know why? Because there's just too much in terms of social media where it's going to kill. I'm going to get killed on social media. So I want to be watching Walking Dead because, quite honestly, I mean, the last couple of matches I really don't care about. You figure Walking Dead is 9 o'clock. All right, so that'll probably be the John Cena match or maybe AJ Styles. I don't know. I just – because you figure the bigger names will be more towards the end of the card. But, I mean, that Lesnar match is going to be 20 seconds. I don't know. I really don't care. To not spoil a show that's been building very well throughout the season as opposed to the shitty build-up for Raw, I'm going to watch Walking Dead.
I got a game plan for myself, how I'm going to do this in my head. Okay, so I'm going to watch Walking Dead because, like you said, I don't want spoilers to ruin it for me because I'd rather have spoilers ruin WrestleMania than Walking Dead, obviously. Right. But my game plan is Walking Dead's going to be on my TV at the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to put WrestleMania on my iPad. WrestleMania is going to be on low volume, and I'll be peeking at it just in case because, they're praising all these surprises. So I truthfully don't want to miss a surprise, but at the same time, I don't want to miss Walking Dead. So I haven't figured out how I'm going to do this.
There you go. I mean, I got my big-ass computer screen, so they're going to be right next to each other. And, of course, WrestleMania will be muted because Negan is glorious.
Little pig, let me in.